Sure, go ahead. Hello, hello. Do you have a clicker? Thank you. All right, how's it going? Good, good. Becca, the boss, where are you at? She left. What time do I need to be done? 11:45, 11:50? Yeah. Okay. Well, sweet. Number one, again, I echo vote for KW Westfield Peeps. Okay. I don't know how many people typically vote, but it's a small, surprising small amount. Dean, do you know what it is? Isn't it only like 400 people usually vote out of the 2,500 agents in the county? Yeah, literally, if everybody voted in our office, we would like 100% win. So vote, just vote. Okay. When we sweep it, the things that we're going to make them do for us at UCAR is going to come in handy. Second thing is Key Please. It really is awesome. I'm excited. It's a no-brainer for us to use. They do have intentions of fully wrapping it into Command. So eventually it'll just be able to just be in the whole ecosystem. So this isn't necessarily what I wanted to talk about, but wealth building is usually kind of what I tend to talk about when Jonny invites me back into team meeting. And I was sitting on a plane from Italy just a few days ago, putting some more of my thoughts together. But I want to start going down this pathway of coming back every few weeks or month and teaching a piece of this. I totally think it is possible to 10x your net worth every decade, right? And the goal I have for every one of our agents is to get to a net worth of $1 million as fast as possible, okay? And then really wealth building just gets so dang fun. It really does. And I was trying to just even think about, I'll just hurry and zip through these, but the main topic I want to talk about is number 3, is budgeting. We'll spend a little bit of time on that. But these are just things I was trying to just actually just put a lot of heart and thought into. What are some of the financial principles or things that I've learned that I've totally accepted, internalized, and put into motion in my life? I'm just going to turn this off. Is that all right? That have just really changed the game for me when it comes to wealth building and the path that I've been on the last 15 years. So these aren't necessarily in the exact order, but it's kind of a little bit of a flow at which I felt like I accepted and internalized some of these principles. And number one is commit to mastery in a job. I think one of the plagues we have going on right now in the industry is people want to do a bunch of stuff. They're spoiled. They want, the endorphins of just doing new and exciting, and they just want to pick the best and the most likable tasks in a bunch of different things and collectively add them up to making that be their job. That is not the definition of work. Work is about grinding and committing something to almost way too long until you build momentum, and then the success and the positive things are on the other side of that. I get way too many people around me that are just dancing around and want to just do a bunch of stuff, when in reality, if they just focused on one thing longer and spend more time and more emotion committing to be the best at it, they're just on the other side, just waiting to make a bunch of money, okay? And when you keep having a short attention span, again, I always reference how we grew up. I grew up on 30-minute TV shows, eating my cereal, watching Ninja Turtles or whatever before school. Ninja Turtles are 4 mutant turtles, Jordan, the sewer, there's a rat in there. Weren't you YouTube generation? YouTube is most watched thing on the planet under 18 years old, which again, the average YouTube video is like 7-8 minutes. TikTok 7 seconds, right? So we continue to condition society to have a shorter attention span, and it's sucking hustle and grit out of just like what really needs to happen to be successful. And you're not allowed to do 2 things until you've mastered one thing. Do you know what the average tenure of a team leader is in the Keller Williams system? Is it a hard job, Jonny? He makes it look easy, but it is the most difficult job I've ever had on the planet for me. And the average tenure of a team leader in our system is 1.7 years. So when I tell people, when I meet new Keller Williams people that I was a team leader for 10 years, they are shocked. They literally are shocked, right? But again, I just had to commit and just go all in on something to raise my income, raise my mastery. And once I did that, so many other things came on the other side of that, okay? So if you think you're on the get rich quick scheme of the real estate commission world, you're not. Just commit to a job, think bigger, raise your income. People come to wealth building class and they want to learn about, wealth, blah, blah, blah. But again, you just got to commit to just having financial literacy, right? And part of that is just read 100 money books, read every money book that's ever suggested to you, and just learn and learn and learn about it. And I just had a huge appetite for just craving financial information early on in my career. The next thing, again, you have to budget. You have to have a net worth tracker, a balance sheet. You just have to have a habit every month of doing those. If you don't know where you are, you'll never know where you're going. If you don't know what your net worth is, even if it's a bad number, you're never going to systematically grow it. And some people will focus on a budget, but they don't focus on a balance sheet. Accept both of them in your monthly habit. Number 4, this is shocking. I don't know. This is something I invented. You've probably never heard this before, but delay your dang lifestyle. Delay your lifestyle for 10 years. There's a book written called The Defining Decade that usually anytime I meet anybody in their 20s, I give them this book, because even your 20s, like if you delay your lifestyle and commit to just living great financial principles, you set yourself up for your lifetime, okay? If you miss your 20s, the second best time to start is your 30s. If you miss your 30s, 40s is your next best shot, then 50s, then 60s, then 70s, okay? 80s, I'm not sure. You can figure that out on your own. And again, delaying your lifestyle means delaying your lifestyle. You don't drive the fanciest car. You don't have to live in the fanciest place. You don't have to get fries and a drink as side dishes when you eat, okay? Delay your lifestyle. And at that point, until you get to several $100,000 or even $1 million net worth, every freaking dollar matters. Earn your advance of your lifestyle, okay? Kendrick, get back here. Hey, Kendrick, what happens when we also play a high school level college team like BYU typically does? Did you see the score last Saturday? Yeah. Yeah, but BYU wins too. Well, and then number 5, you have to take and make a plan for your money. You have to have buckets. Every dollar you earn, you have to have buckets for it. You have to have percentages for it, and you have to direct it before it hits your bank account and it disappears, right? Number 6 is have streams of income that fit together. Once you figure out how to master something, you need to start layering on other streams of income that fit together, right? And part of that is if you're a real estate agent, you going out and owning a window washing businesses aren't necessarily fitting together streams of income, right? You having a real estate business and growing a profit share business at the same time, those fit together a lot more naturally. Doesn't mean you can't do it if they're totally separated industries. It just creates a lot more likelihood that you'll be able to build multiple streams of income the more they kind of correlate together, right? That's why you're seeing a lot of the industries start getting into either mortgage, title, insurance, real estate ownership, because they tend to fit together a little bit more, right? A Keller Williams agent started Key Please. He saw a need. He's still a full-time real estate agent. He started and threw some money in and started a technology company specifically for the real estate industry, right? That still fits together. Again, and then once you kind of develop a handful of streams of income, even if it starts small, 7 cents, 10 cents, whatever it is a month, treat that stream of income like a business, right? I talk about my profit share business. I took that to heart. I treated it like a business. I created an LLC. It gave me a lot more, motivation to go find someone to attract to my profit share tree. The income from that went into my LLC, and I started making business plans and business decisions around that. Okay, don't treat it passively. Treat it like a real business every time you get a stream of income, and have some goals around it. So even when I started and dedicated myself to building a profit share business, I had the goal that I heard from someone else. I wanted to get 15 people in my level 1. I was going to refer enough or recruit enough people that I had 15, right? I was on stage at Mega Camp specifically about the profit share business. I've only made the last 10 years, I know it's still a big number, people make fun, but it's not like millions and millions of dollars in profit share. The whole last 10 years, I probably averaged about 15 grand a year, $150,000 that I've made in my profit share business. But because I set it up as a business and that money came in, and I actually dedicated myself to not spend it because I wanted to actually invest that money, I bought in 2 rental properties inside my profit share LLC. The net worth of my profit share business now, because I haven't taken money out of it yet, is like 600 grand right now. So again, once you actually even start developing those streams of income, dedicate some of them to just solely 100% of it to be reinvested. Just like when you buy a stock, you can reinvest those dividends. And then number 8 was just something else I put on somewhere along the early road of my career, which probably came a little bit from my mentor, Boyd Brown, which is a partner on this brokerage with us. He owns the Salt Lake Keller Williams office. But he taught me to obsess about ownership. He taught me to fall in love with wanting to own stuff, even if it started small, whether it was owning a stock or owning one share of a little company or whatever, owning real estate. Just start getting obsessed with owning stuff, because not only are you actually building a stream of income, you're also building an equity, right? Yep. Yes. Things that go up in value. That's a great. Yep. And then again, be obsessed about passive income. And then again, once you start developing some of these streams of income, you have to have a real clear strategy of buying real estate, cost segging it, get the tax benefits to lower your tax burden, keep buying real estate, and it just keeps going, and boom, it just speeds up. Okay. So I'll come back if you want to go deeper into some of these. And Shoni and I have a couple plans for some events later this year that will go really deep into a lot of these. But the one I want to talk about is budget, which is the favorite topic when I talk about wealth building. The reality check that's going on in our industry is the market is contracting. Contracting. Okay. It's getting smaller. There's less transactions to go around. We're officially 10, 20% down in closed units year over year in almost every market in the country right now. There's less deals per agent in the country, and agents are still flooding into the business. Yes, I absolutely believe you have to play offense like there's no other piece of your game plan, like defense doesn't matter. And then you also have to take a sidestep and play defense like offense doesn't matter. When you watch a football game even, again, offense plays like the whole game is on their shoulders, and defense plays like the whole game is on their shoulders, okay? So again, offense, I totally believe in this marketplace, any agent, any team could just outwork their ability to make as much money as they want. That is the benefit and the luxury of our life. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the defense today, okay? And again, as the market contracts, there's less deals, you need to attack your expenses. Is this the first time you guys have heard this the last 6 months? No, right? This has been on all of our minds, right? On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being you are totally dialed in on your budget, 1 being you still don't know how to spell the word budget. Who is a 9 or 10 right now? Raise your hand. Who feels like you've done the dang work? And if you've been in the business less than 12 months, you don't count because you've been on a budget since you got in anyways, right? I remember one time, the first 12 months I was in the business, my wife went to Wendy's and got a $1 5-piece chicken nugget, and I was so mad. I'm like, do you have any idea how expensive those nuggets are? You got to count your dollars. So yes, but anybody else? At 9 or 10, I saw a few of you. Who feels like you're 7 or 8? Who feels like you have been avoiding this conversation and this whole topic for the last 6 months? Okay, don't be shy. All right, that's why I'm here, okay? A couple things. So I know some of you might have seen some of these slides, but I just want to just have a real candid conversation about how do we get better on pace to create a budget. And again, in this marketplace, it's even more necessary. But if you want to go build wealth, you have to have a plan for your money. You have to control your expenses, your lifestyle, and just blowing money and just not having a very high level of accountability around it is the fastest way that's going to keep you from being a millionaire. Okay. Again, if you have large bills in your wallet, you're less likely to spend them if you're carrying around 5s and 10s. Carry big bills. Money isn't made out of paper; it's made out of cotton. Did you know that? The switch from dollar bills to dollar coins would save American taxpayers approximately $4.4 billion in the next 30 years. This is because coins are significantly more durable than paper bills. Did you know that? What is it, the nickel or the dime that actually costs us? Cameron, you know this. What is it? What is it? It costs like 6.7 cents to make a 5-cent nickel or something like that. A guy in Arizona wrote his address on $1 bills, pleading to be sent back to him and get them back from all over the world, up to $94 a month. Just use hundreds now. If everybody wants to give me a $100 bill, I'll get them distributed out in the, okay. The reality is, so I just got back from a Mediterranean cruise. Is my 3-year postponed honeymoon because COVID kept wiping it out. But again, every time I go to another country, no matter where it is, Italy is gorgeous. Nobody book your dang flight. Italy is gorgeous. I love that country. But again, when I step back into Atlanta after flying back from Italy, I'm like, I love America. Everything's so awesome in America, right? I've never been to another country and be like, I want to move here. I like to visit there, but I love America. But again, one of the biggest problems we have in our country is the financial dissolving of great financial principles. And some of the stats that I continue to hear about are just disgusting at the mismanagement of how we use our money. We're the richest country on the planet, but we're the brokest country on the planet somehow, right? 2/3 of Americans would struggle to scrounge up $1,000 in an emergency. 200 and some million people would struggle to scrounge up $1,000. Only 24% of millennials demonstrate basic financial literacy, according to a study from the, who's a millennial? Angie, stay after with these people. Among adults who have combined finances in current or previous relationships, 2 out of 5 fess up to committing financial infidelity. About 77 million Americans, or 35% of adults with a credit file, have debt collections reported in their credit files. 35% debt collection. Just 46% of Americans have a rainy day. Yep, lenders. Yep. Just 46% of Americans have a rainy day fund. Half have even $1 as a rainy day fund. The number of consumers age 60 and older with student loan debt has quadrupled over the last decade. Joe Biden's here. He solved that. We're good, guys. Nearly 1/3 of Americans pay the minimum due on their credit card each month. Almost half of student loan holders express concern about their ability to pay off their student debt. Crazy, right? So again, budget isn't necessarily I gotta only spend $13 this month in dining out or whatever. It's just overall having a really solid plan for money. When money comes into your life, you have to have a really clear plan for it. Were you here and play this? Sorry. The path of money.
There are two kinds of capitals. What are they? Human and capital, right? In other words, you work for money or money works for you. That's your choice. Have a nice day. Either way, you get cash flow. And when I have cash flow, there's only 4 things I can do with the money short of eating it, but we won't count that one. Okay. I can spend it, I can donate it, I can hold it, or I can invest it. Now fill in the percent, right? You have 100% of your money. You're holding it in your hand. What percent are you going to spend? What percent are you going to donate? What percent are you just going to put away for a rainy day? And what are you going to invest? You got it? Now, what do you think most people do? Exactly. Or hold it. They're going to do these two right here. They're going to hold a small percent. They're going to spend it. They're going to spend the rest of it. Okay. An investor doesn't do that. An investor says, when I have money come into my hands, I'm going to take a percent right off the top. And I'm going to put it in a separate account. And that's my investment account. And you do that from day one. And I don't care if today, if it's just $1, I don't care. Or if it's $10, I don't care. It's the habit that every time you get $1, you don't say I have $1. You say I have 90 cents, or I have 70 cents, or I have 50 cents, or I have 10 cents. The other I have is for what? There you go. And that's the big habit right there, is you do not take all that money and put it in just one category. Okay. So I have money to invest. Now, when you invest money, you only have 2 choices. I can either lend it or I can own something with it. We clear on that? I only have 2 choices. I can either lend it to you or I can buy something with it and own it. Those are my only choices. Now, if I lend it, by the way, and by the way, with either one, I have 2 positions. I can either be passive or active. So if I lend, I have passive. And if I lend, I have active. And if I own, I have passive. And if I own, I have active. So passive simply means I give it to someone else and they handle it. You're with me on that? I just write them a check, give it to them, and I go off and I say, make me rich, baby. Does this make you rich? Say no. It can't, by definition, make you rich. This category here does not make people rich unless you got lucky. Okay, we go all the way over there. We've gone through all of this to get to one conclusion. Where's all the money made in the world? Owning real estate or owning a business. That's it. That's it. What you need to understand is if you're going to part money, you need to realize.
Again, saving money and giving your money to others to invest is very low probability you'll ever get wealthy, right? Like the most likely way that you're going to become a millionaire is owning businesses or pieces of businesses that you either control or you might have some influence in that's going to help it grow, right? And then just owning a bunch of real estate. So even my kids, right? I've tried to think, which kids never listen to me. My own kids never listen to me. I don't know if anybody else has a problem with that. But I said, all right, how do I teach my kids about money as early as possible? And which principles are the absolute most important to teach them when they're young? And I just arrived at one. If I can teach them one thing, it is that principle at not counting the dollar as a dollar when they earn it, right? So my 3 older kids, 12, 11, and 11 right now, I have little kid bank accounts where they actually can log into it on their phone, whatever, and I pay them commission to do certain things or whatever. I don't pay them allowance, I pay them commission to do certain things. And every dollar they earn, we get in fights all the time about this because they still don't understand it. But eventually, after maybe 5 years, it'll click. But every dollar they get paid, they can only spend half of it. The other half, they just have to put it in their savings account that's tied to that thing. I use Current. Current's a cool little app that is good for kids. And we fight about it all the time, and they're always trying to negotiate with me on how they can spend more than their 50 cents on the dollar. But again, if I can just stick to that, and by the time they even get to their first job, right, that's usually the sticker shock they get when they get their first paycheck and all the taxes came out and they're shocked, right? Hopefully I can prep them for that. And even 50 cents, if they could live their whole life with that, they'll be 100 millionaires. They literally will, right? This is an event, just another way at looking at that. You can just keep the mouse by you if you want. So again, this is how Gary talks about it. Human capital, capital assets, cash flow comes down. You can spend it, donate it, save it, invest it. 90% of the planet spend all of it or more than all of it, right? And again, the second you get that dollar, if you don't bucket it and send that percentage, like I highly doubt you will actually save or invest money after even a couple days, right? This is another way that we learned. He calls it a wealth coordination account. It's part of the KW Wealth segment that was just launched. Me and Jonny went down to that class. They have a separated bank account. Any money they ever make dumps into this wealth coordination account, the war chest, the WCA. They're never allowed to spend or anything out of that account. They don't even have a debit card or checks tied to it. And then simply it sits in there. And then that's how they execute their percentages of what buckets it goes to, right? Which is either savings, investing, even going a little bit deeper. Again, all income cash flow comes in, wealth coordination. They decide their percentages. They can go move the money that they need every month to live for their family into their family checking. They have savings, or maybe they want to assign certain to real estate or flips or investments or whatever, right? And you got to do that immediately. So even just setting up another free bank account could just totally change your wealth building path forward. And again, there's only 3 steps to budgeting, right? Number 1 is start tracking your income expenses. You're never going to know where your money. It's so funny when I talk to people that don't track their expenses. Clay, where's Clay? He already left because he knew I was going to make fun of him. Huh? Yeah. Clay's that guy. I'm like, how much money do you spend every month? And he's like, like $4,000. I'm like, there is no way in HE double hockey sticks that you spend $4,000 a month. Because again, most people think what their normal fixed expenses are is how much money they spend. And when they actually go do and categorize it, it's always double. It's always double. And again, there's just those random variable expenses or lifestyle expenses that money can disappear. So again, you just have to start tracking it, tracking your income expenses. I use the free software mint.com. It's free. It's online. There's an app, whatever. I've tied my bank accounts to it every month. Just coincidentally, I was doing it right before I came down. It takes me about 15, 20 minutes just to hurry and categorize everything. And then I can just look at my report and just see where my money and where my income and my expenses were. Okay. I do it every single month. So that's step 1. Number 2 is then actually creating a budget of where you want your money to be spent and stay within certain categories before you get your money, right? Who right now is tracking your expenses? Okay. Who has a plan for your money before you roll into a month? Who has budgeted categories before you roll into it? Yeah. Which the 3rd step is the one is actually living within those categories. Okay. So who's on step, who's actually doing 1, 2, and 3? Raise your hand. Okay, geeks right here, nerds, everybody. Who's doing 1 and 2? Okay, who's doing 1? Who wants to do 1, 2, and 3? Shut their credit card off, give them a separate bank account, transfer a certain amount, and then they have to live within that. Me and my wife are also fighting about a very similar topic right now. Okay, so why don't we budget? If life was just about accepting information and understanding certain information, everybody in the room would have 6 packs and be multimillionaires, right? If it's all about just the right information, everybody knows this stuff. Everybody knows the right things in their health area of life. But why don't we budget?
I think a lot of it is psychological because you think that if you budget, it's going to be constraining. In reality, it's actually free. That's my psyche.
Yeah, Jason?
You get easily distracted from what we really want.
Why?
Because it's shiny thing right in front of me. I want it so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and companies are spending billions and billions and billions of dollars. Even they have most big companies have several psychologists, psychiatric people, whatever, that are using like mental science basically against you to trick you into giving your money to them, right? Like there is a war going on out there. Go ahead.
I think sometimes too, deep down we know that it requires accountability. Human nature is to shy away from accountability.
Yeah. Do you know, I saw a stat the other day. We only have, there's 7 billion people on the planet. There's 350 million, whatever that stat is. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4% of the population in the United States, right? But we take 46% of the world's prescription drugs. The United States does. Crazy, huh? And again, one of the reasons for that is big pharma spends 19 times more money on marketing than they do on research and development. Crazy, right? So again, there's a lot of forces on that, but again, you just have to ask your question. If you're not hitting 1, 2, and 3 right now, ask yourself why. But we're going to go through a few reasons, but ask yourself why. Just sit back, get real, don't feel bad about yourself, ask why, and then start to process through it and make some steps to actually get back onto some sort of budget, right? This is one survey that Dave Ramsey did. 31% of people find it boring. Who finds it boring? Yeah, all right. Who says they don't have enough time? Okay, 19% there. Lack of confidence in making money-related decisions, or preferred not to know. Yeah. Find it difficult, 8%. And here's 5 more. So we'll just try and read these real quick. Number 1, just like you said, is unresolved emotional issues. So people don't budget or stick to a budget due to unresolved emotional issues. Eddie Reese, a therapist, specializes in helping people improve their financial lives. Desert News. If our financial lives were simply about math, we'd have plenty of money. We have, yes. We have a relationship with our money just like we have a relationship with food. He explained, and just like emotional issues can sabotage a relation to use weight, so too can emotional issues sabotage a budget. Much of our behavior is explained by the drive to regulate how we feel. Some people drink alcohol, some people eat food, some people buy Louis Vuitton belts like Jordan. I was looking at Nova Lee, but you were in front of her. Riley? Yeah. It is an emotional game. I totally agree with that. It could be from childhood trauma. It could be from who knows what, but figure out what those are and start figuring out how to resolve them, right? Number 2, meaningless numbers. To make budgeting successful, it needs to be tied to what you want to do in your life. Instead of starting with numbers, Gallegos suggests starting with goals. Maybe the goals range from saving on weekly grocery bills to taking a family vacation to Disney World, or even making sure you have time to train for a marathon. He said, write them all down and then build the budget within the goals in mind. It's okay if your budget needs modifications along the way. He explained, you just need to know where you're going. Meaningless numbers. Number 3 is inertia. In some respects, answering the question of why people don't budget is a lot like the question of why we don't go to the gym every day. We all know it's good for us, but sometimes there just isn't enough force to drag us there. Budgeting forces a person to look critically at one's own financial information. Looking in the proverbial mirror isn't always easy. Instead of a one-time process, budgeting takes continual upkeep. It's a continuous process of planning, feedback, and adjustment. After you've looked back at what you've spent, made goals for the next period of your life and execute a plan, you have to do it all over again, and the respective process feels a lot like sticking to a diet. It's something that requires discipline. Even the balance sheet, right? Why a lot of people don't do the balance sheet is because they don't want to know what the bottom number is, right? They think they should be farther in life. And again, the first years that I did my balance sheet, it felt like work. It felt like discipline that it took to consistently do it. When the market's exploding and I own some real estate and income's going up, I look forward to doing my balance sheet. I'm now not looking forward to doing my balance sheet as the market's contracting, right? But again, you just have to make it a commitment. You got to start having small wins and build some momentum and build some energy on it. And again, happiness doesn't happen. Happiness doesn't happen on the fulfillment of goals. Happiness happens on the journey to goals. And even once you start and you start getting some progress, even incremental small progress, it picks up. It speeds up. Okay. There's several times I go to the gym, even though physically my body doesn't look different at all, and I look in the mirror, I'm like, dang, I look good. It's a fictitious emotion that creates energy. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Endorphins for people to budget. The goal has to be more compelling than the immediate purchase. When we see the immediate reward of a purchase, our brains light up with endorphins. When we budget, we don't get the same high. However, when individuals set up systems that give similar reward cues to the brain, it can mirror those same chemicals. For example, you could pay off your small debts or work on short-term budgeting goals. Small goals that are short-term use the brain's natural reinforcement system. Of course, you don't want to ignore the big stuff, but having a few little wins under your belt could help you gather momentum. Just anything you want to buy, tie it to some sort of work or path that's going to help you get there, even if it's very short-term, right? Little successes. And then the last one, again, is just misconceptions. I think people have a lot of misconceptions about what it means to budget. Instead of meticulously planning each purchase you make, believes that budgeting is at its core knowing how much you need for the essentials, setting aside money for your monthly debt payments, and saving for your retirement that inevitably rainy days. Then the rest of your income is yours to spend any way you like. The only trick is that you have to keep track of that amount as you go through your month. Roughly 30% of your monthly after-tax pay is yours to enjoy. But when you've spent it, the party's over until the next paycheck. In most cases, a change of habit or two is all it takes to get a budget under control. Misconceptions. And again, even if you lived off one simple principle, every dollar you make, you could only spend 50% of it. A lot of that would be a lot easier. You don't have to go through, I'm going to put every little budget item or whatever in there. So, all right, we are there, 11:48. I need like 3 ahas or something that you're committing to out of this. What is going to get you back, Jen? You're going to be one of them, but what's something you're going to commit to doing after this? Go ahead, Riley.
Just put together my percentages while you were talking. Thank you. I went and just put together my percentages when I was talking. So I'm going to meet with the office and have them distribute my money when I get it into different accounts. I used to do that, and then I got cocky and was like, I don't need to do that anymore. Just went and looked at my bank account, and I was like, I really need to do that. So.
Perfect. Who else? Adam? You already downloaded Mint. Yes. Okay. And you're going to use it. Oh, you'll try. Good. Jen?
Well, apparently I need therapy. I mean, we already knew I needed therapy. Okay, so actually my husband does all of that and I just let him do it. So I guess I'm going to have to start sitting down and listening to what's happening.
Have you ever done Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University? It's just, there's a lot of great principles in there, but the whole context is like a lot of marriages are made up of a nerd and the free spirit. And he makes jokes about it the entire like 7 sessions, but it actually is a lot of really great emotional support on you totally being different than each other and still finding ways to meet together. Totally. Noble, are you the nerd or the free spirit? You're the nerd here, but I think you're the free spirit at home, aren't you? Yeah. All right. Who else? Going once, twice.
Best way to budget variable income. That gets tricky.
Yeah, and part of it is just, for me, is just living below my means stricter for a little bit until I can have a little bit of slush fund in that war chest, and then just really minimizing that budgeted amount that moves over to my account. Like I just have a fixed amount that I transfer over every month. And again, when you're like one paycheck to paycheck, I get that it's hard. That's why I tease the first new agents. It just takes a little bit of momentum. But again, most people, they live paycheck to paycheck, not because they're moving the budgeted amount. It's because whatever hits their account, they'll spend it all. You know, you just got to be disciplined enough and just don't eat out or whatever it takes just to get a couple months ahead of time. Totally.
That's what I was going to just recommend. In the beginning like that, just work really, really hard to prepay. Get as far as you can ahead on your budget so that that can start to pile up. And so if you have a little bit of extra, instead of, I know they say you're supposed to save it, but I would just keep plowing away at the next month and at the next month so that you can start to see some wiggle come in. And that's probably what I would do, but
Yep.
I get it.
Sean, and then back there.
For me, one of the big things was reading up on good financial principles and reading all the books. I know like each time I've read one, I've had one major aha that's like completely changed our family finances, like Automatic Millionaire. Going back to saving is an action. And so whenever we can just make systems for ourselves, such as having these accounts set up where we automatically have our paychecks distributed, like Riley said, it'll make our future selves thank our past selves.
Yeah. And again, when you're only spending half of what you make and you realize that half isn't enough to support yourself, it creates quite a bit of motivation to go make a little bit more money, right? And then back there.
I would say just taking the time, like 30 minutes every day, just updating your balance sheet and looking at the numbers is very helpful. Kind of understand where you're at and maybe to push you to make more money.
Totally.
And then as well, save your money or pay your debts down more.
Cool. All right. Anybody else want to go? Okay. Today, right after this, groundbreaking golden shovels, super excited in Lehigh. All right. Take it away,
Yes.
Jonny.
Thank you, Johnny. Give him a hand. I had an amazing mentor when I was 21, and he would always say, there's quite a few different quotes that he would say, but one of them, he built the rocket boosters for NASA, some big machinery for Nestle, the company that he created, and made his billionth dollar when I was working with him. And he would always say that money is not the most important thing in the world, but it's right up there with oxygen. It actually creates space, gives you breathing room, and allows you to do good. And so just think about this conversation and go back. The biggest thing you want to do is before you leave this room, create your action plan. What is the one thing you're going to do in the next week based off of what you just learned? Okay. Education without implementation is entertainment. And so make sure that you're implementing what you just learned. But we have, here's the address to the event. Miss Utah will be there. The mayor will be there. And then we'll have the food truck and head right over. So lunch is served, ready to go. See you soon.